The Tigger Movie. It was terrific autumn day in 100-acre wood. Ho, 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 Tigger happily called, bouncing through his freshly fallen leaves. It's a wonderful to be the one and only me. In fact, Tigger felt so wonderful that he decided to share his bounces with his good friend, Winnie the Pooh. Howdy do, Pooh, Tigger greeted him. You gonna bounce with me? Well, I would, answered Pooh, except that I must count my honey pots for winter. Tetchy, Tigger replied, accidentally stepping into one. I never understand why your Poohs like this icky stuff. Well, anyway, ta-ta-ta-ta for now. So Tigger bounced over to Piglet's house. Hiya, Piglet, how you doing, pal? Tigger called. What say you and I do a little bit of bouncing? Piglet was too busy collecting firewood for the winter. Tigger saw Kanga next, but Kanga also had too much work to do to go bouncing. What Tigger didn't realise was that Roo would have loved to go bouncing with him, but by the time Roo came running out of the house, Tigger had gone. Tigger sat down on a large rock. Why would anyone not want to bounce, he wondered. Tigger was sure someone would want to bounce with him, so he bounced off the rock and back into the forest. He didn't notice the rock had came loose. It rolled down the hill and landed crash right on top of Eeyore's house. Eeyore was okay, but his house wasn't. It was stuck under the rock. It wasn't long before everyone but Tigger came round to help. Tigger still didn't know what had happened. Rabbit came up with a plan to move the rock. Everyone helped him construct a funny-looking device. No one really knew how it worked, but Rabbit was sure it would. They pushed and pulled, but the rock didn't budge. Hello, you blokes, called Tigger, springing into the group. Anyone up for a little bouncing? We had no such time for such nonsenses, Rabbit cried. There's work to do. What? Moving that old thing? Tigger asked, explaining the rock. Not a problem. All you need is a little bouncing. You think bouncing will move this boulder? Said Rabbit. Aha. It's almost amusing. Hey, I'll show you, Tigger answered. He wound himself up like a giant spring and boing! He unleashed the biggest bounce ever. The rock went flying. Unfortunately, so did Eeyore and all his friends. Around and around they tumbled and stumbled, and finally, splat! They landed in the mud. Now that's out of the way, Tigger said to his muddy buddies. Who's up for a little fun type bouncing? Just look at this mess, Rabbit shouted angrily. Everything's ruined. All you can think about is bouncing. Well, yeah, Tigger instantly replied. That's what Tiggers do best. We're not Tiggers, Pooh reminded him gently. You mean no one wants to bounce with me? Tigger asked sadly. He walked off into the forest, all alone. Who needs them anyway? Tigger explained. I'll just bounce myself with nobody else. But Tigger, Roo protested, joining him. Aren't there other Tiggers? I have a mammy. Don't you have a family somewhere too? Family? Tigger had never thought of such a thing before, but it was a thrilling idea. A family full of Tiggers, you say? He asked, excitedly, bouncing up and down. But Tigger didn't know where to find his family, so he and Roo went to ask Owl, While Al rumbled on about family trees, Tigger actually knocked some pictures off the wall. Roo tried to help his friend by coughing loudly to distract Al while Tigger tried to put the pictures back in place. Then suddenly, while looking at the wall, Tigger had an idea. He would search for his own family tree, a tree that would be gigantically striped and full of Tiggers. And so, with Roo's help, Tigger searched the 100-acre wood for the tree filled with Tiggers. He searched high, he searched low, he searched near, he searched far. "Yoo-hoo!" Tigger called. "Family, hello!" For hour, weary hour, the two looked but found nothing. The other residents of 100-acre Wood were busy too. They were still helping one another prepare for winter. When Pooh, Piglet and Eeyore found out that Tigger was looking for his family, they decided to help him instead. So off they went on their own quest for Tiggers. Meanwhile, Tigger and Roo had almost given up. The tiresome twosome trudged back to Tigger's house. "Why aren't those Tiggers anywhere?" Tigger said with a sigh. "We looked everywhere, which are not to mention right over there, and not a single stripy tree in sight." "And just think," Tigger continued, "if there were other Tiggers, we would all bounce the whoopie doopie loopy loopy alley offy bounce." "Can you teach me it too?" begged Roo. "I'm really a good bouncer, please." "That's ridiculous," Tigger answered. "No offence, Roo boy, but I think you're a little on the smallish side for that type of thing." Roo tried the bounce anyway, but crashed. Things fell all around him. Tigger noticed a heart-shaped locket and picked it up. He eagerly looked inside the locket to see if there was a family picture, but the locket was completely empty. "Completely Tiggerless," sighed Tigger. "How am I supposed to find my family now?" Then Tigger had a great idea. He would send his family a letter and invite them to his house. Roo eagerly helped his pal. When they had finished, they set off Tigger's letter. Then they sat down to wait for a reply. Meanwhile, Pooh, Piglet and Eeyore weren't having much luck looking for Tigger's family. Eeyore found some bouncy animals, but they weren't the right sort of Tiggers. Pooh found some stripy animals in a tree. They reminded him of honeybees. It turned out they were honeybees. Angry honeybees. All the while, Tigger and Roo waited for an answer to Tigger's letter. Soon the first snow of winter began to fall. Roo became worried about his downhearted pal. So one night he talked to his mother, Kanga. The next morning, Kanga and Roo gathered the gang together to write a pretend letter from Tigger's family. "Dear Tigger," Al began writing. "Now, what else shall it say?" "How about dress warmly?" Kanga suggested. "Yes," Pooh agreed. "And eat well." "Stay safe and sound," advised Piglet. "Keep smiling," Eeyore added. "We're always there for you," Roo said. "Wishing you all the best," Al concluded. "Signed, your family." That night they secretly placed the letter in Tigger's mailbox. "Ho, ho!" Tigger gleefully shouted the next day. "Look what I've got, a letter from my very own family." Everyone smiled. Tigger was happy. Their plan was working. "And the best part of all is that they're coming to see me tomorrow," Tigger added. Everyone stopped smiling. "They never wrote that." Where exactly does it say that?" asked Al. "With Tiggers you have to read between the lines," Tigger explained. Tigger was so excited that his friends didn't have the heart to tell him the truth. Luckily, Roo came up with another plan. They would all dress up like Tiggers and pretend to be Tigger's family. The next day, the pretend Tiggers knocked on his door. "Surprise!" they shouted when Tigger opened the door. Tigger couldn't believe his eyes. "Come in," he eagerly invited. "There's lots of catching up we're going to do." "Hey, who's up for some family type fun and games?" Tigger offered. "I know. Let's do what Tiggers do best. Bouncing! Let's do the whoopie doopie loopy loopy. Alley oopie bounce," said Roo. But when Roo tried the bounce, not only did he crash again, but his mask fell off. Tigger saw that his family Tiggers were really his 100-acre wood friends. He was feeling hurt. "We only wanted to help," explained Pooh. "That's all right," replied Tigger, sniffling. "Somewhere out there is my family, and I'm gonna find them. So forever." Tigger left the house and entered the cold forest all alone. The next morning, a terrible blizzard hit the 100-acre wood. Without Tigger's winter seemed much colder and much more unfriendly. "Pooh," pleaded Roo, entering the bear's house. "We've got to find Tigger. It's dangerous out there." So Pooh gently suggested that he, Piglet, Eeyore, Rabbit and Roo formed an exploration to find their missing friend. Meanwhile, Tigger tramped through the deep snow, still searching for his family tree. Suddenly he saw the biggest, tallest, grandest tree ever. "I've found it!" he shouted, bouncing up the branches. "Hello! Is anybody home?" He bounced from branch to branch, looking for Tiggers. But he didn't find a single one. At the same time, Roo, Pooh, Piglet, Rabbit and Eeyore bravely fought the freezing weather as they searched for Tigger. "Tigger! Tigger!" they called through the howling wind. "Where are you?" But Tigger didn't hear them. He sat on a lonely branch and moaned. The big tree was empty. There was no family of Tiggers. "Maybe they forgot I was coming," he said. Just then Tigger spotted something far below him. It was his friends. "Hey!" he cried as soon as he had bounced down from the tree. "What you guys doing here?" Suddenly there came a loud, low, rumbling sound. It was an avalanche. Snow roared down the mountainside. "Come on, hurry up!" Tigger shouted, bouncing his friends up the tree to safety. "No time for dawdling." Just then it seemed that everyone was safe. Tigger swept away in the swirling snow. "I'll save you, Tigger!" Roo cried. There was only one way to save Tigger. Roo wounded himself up, unleashed the mightiest whoopie doopie loopy loopy alley oopie bounce ever. He grabbed Tigger and pulled him to safety. "Ho ho ho! You did it, Roo!" Tigger cried. "You bounced just as good as any Tigger could." Later, when everyone was safely home, Tigger held a party for his pals. "Amen ha-hoom," he proclaimed on his most occasionals. "My finest ever family reunited. I'd just like to present each of you a present." Tigger gave Eeyore a new house, Pooh some honey, Piglet firewood, and for Rabbit he promised always to watch where he was bouncing. Last but not least, Tigger gave Roo the heart-shaped locket, and inside the locket Tigger put a picture of his very own family, his real family, the family Tigger had discovered he had all along.